Do you remember when your economics professor called Bitcoin a scam?
It serves no purpose. It's not a store of value. It's not a medium of exchange. And as we have seen, if you want it decentralized and not under government control, it is a haven for fraudsters.
Yeah. Those same ivory tower folks are now teaching Bitcoin 101. MIT, Stanford, Princeton, and even those Berkeley hippies are grading that Bitcoin homework. Those same institutions who once called Bitcoin a joke are now charging you $50,000 a year to learn it. That's like almost half a Bitcoin. So what happened? And what does that mean for adoption? I'm Oceans. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Class is in session.
For the first time in 100 years, there's a capital asset other than treasury bills that you can use to capitalize a publicly traded company on that's liquid. Bitcoin is a digital commodity, a digital scarcity. And theoretically, if you think through the implications of having a digital commodity that you capitalize a public company on, if it outperforms the S&P and is more volatile than the S&P, then you will have positively polarized the balance sheet of the company to capital, which means in theory you can raise infinite money, and the more money you raise, the wealthier everybody gets and the faster the stock price goes up and the more money you can raise. And that's blowing people's minds, right? Because that is such a profound concept that the more money capital I raise, the more capital I can raise. That breaks every textbook at Harvard and Stanford.
It's no surprise that in the early 2010s, Bitcoin was like the boogeyman of academia. The professors of that time probably shrugged it off and said, it's for criminals only, or it's all going to go to zero, it wastes energy.
Ponzi schemes are usually the most exploitative, the most abusive, and the worst. And Bitcoin, frankly, looks exactly like that.
These kinds of typical FUD that you've heard dozens and dozens of times. Some schools literally banned mining rigs in dorms because students were tripping circuit breakers. Well, maybe that's not the only thing they were tripping. Am I right? Bitcoin wasn't just ignored. It was actively dunked on by the so-called experts and students alike. And as late as last year, Harvard commencement speaker Chris Pan was speaking about Bitcoin in his commencement speech and was booed by the entire student body.
But I encourage you to keep an open mind right now.
No.
I see Bitcoin.
The irony is that the students that weren't racking up hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans were already miles ahead of the rest of them by simple Reddit posts. But as we all know, Bitcoin didn't die. Every time it crashed, it came back stronger, like some kind of financial cockroach. Students started underground Bitcoin clubs, hackathons, and meetups. Even UC Berkeley made it official. MIT literally airdropped Bitcoin to its students back in 2014. Half of them probably spent it on pizza, the other half is probably retired by now. Universities have eventually realized that if you're going to ignore Bitcoin, students will probably learn it without you. So the universities are probably thinking, how can I capitalize on this? Let's charge $50,000 a year and teach them about the blockchain.
Blockchain is real. It's a technology. We use it. It's going to move money. It's going to move data. It's efficient. We've been talking about that for 12 years too, and it's very small. Okay, so I think we've wasted too many words in that. Cryptocurrencies, there are two types. There's a cryptocurrency which might actually do something. Think of a cryptocurrency as an embedded smart contract in it, and that we can use it to buy and sell real estate and move data. That may have value.
The idea of tokenizing things.
Tokenizing things that you do something with. And then there's one which does nothing. I call it the pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that.
Yes, the blockchain. Now I want to pause here for a second and just give a shout out to our sponsor, sat123.com. These guys are incredible. They have all the survival gear you'll need in times of a crisis. Communication lines go down and the grid is out. Sat123.com has got you covered. They've got satellite phones, Faraday bags, solar-powered generators. And if you go to sat123.com right now and you put the promo code SIMPLY, you'll get 15% off your purchase. That's sat123.com. Link in the show notes. Fast forward to today, and Bitcoin is on the syllabus of some of the most elite colleges in the world. Jack Mallers, who we all love and adore, explains in this clip how some of the most elite colleges like Harvard are changing their tune on Bitcoin.
You are not going to win, and you are not going to survive owning bonds and stocks. The 60-40 portfolio is dead. And even Harvard agrees. Right after Trump signs this executive order, Harvard bought over $100 million worth of Bitcoin exposure. That is the most prestigious university, not only in America, in the world, that has a $100 million plus Bitcoin position. Pensions, endowments, sovereign wealth funds are buying Bitcoin because you cannot sustain and survive on bonds. And this is no longer speculative. On this show, I spend months. I really think so. If I ran a pension, if I were in charge of funding teachers in Chicago, but now we're living it. We literally now have the US government writing executive orders in endowments like Harvard, just saying, if we're going to survive, we need actual returns.
And we can go down the list of these colleges that are offering Bitcoin courses. Princeton, for instance, has a full Bitcoin course, which they also offer on Coursera because their tuition is not very cheap. Stanford, MIT, Berkeley, Cambridge, Columbia, and even Edinburgh all offer courses on Bitcoin. So why does this matter? Well, not to state the obvious, but it means that Bitcoin has reached its next level of adoption. When the best colleges in the world are teaching Bitcoin in their classes, that really means something.
That means something.
The same professors who mocked Bitcoin are now training the next wave of Bitcoin devs, entrepreneurs, and policy wonks. What's a policy wonk? I have to look that up. Students that are entering Wall Street, Silicon Valley, or the government even, are already orange-pilled. Bitcoin has gone from contraband in your dorm room to a core curriculum. Adoption isn't just about buying Bitcoin, it's about changing culture. And if Bitcoin has infiltrated the ivory tower of education, that's some culture conquered.
What we have with Bitcoin is a new form of software that's has a very tight grip on reality through proof of work mining, right? It's like integrated to energy, if you will.
Right.
And this technology is having implications or effects on our own code.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way I think about this is, look, we're all, maybe this is not an exact term, but we're running cognitive code. We're all running some kind of software to be conscious, right? That's what the brain is. It's the organic computer, whatever you want to call that. Well, our cognitive code is interfacing or interacting with legal codes and moral codes, software codes, all these different codes we've created for ourselves.
Right.
And the way I guess maybe the purpose or the intention, maybe not just purpose and earth, the essence of whatever is written into that code has a mutual influential effect on our mind. And that's what seems to be happening with Bitcoin.
Yeah. And
what changing us.
What I found interesting is that, we tend to think that laws exist in the outside, right? That laws that are written in a written form. But, a lot of laws actually are internal. Like you said, it's a cognitive, right? So that culture has sets of principles and that regulate our behavior. So for instance, I grew up in Japan. So Japanese culture had certain kind of customs and ways of being, right? Mm-hmm. And even though I moved to the US, I carry these laws, within myself. And then when I interact with Americans, for instance, I catch myself, wow, I am operating with Japanese code, right? Mm-hmm. And even though so for instance, we have in Japan, we have freedom of speech, but the culture code create a friction because culturally we are not allowed to speak freely. So there are certain, we kind of regulate our behavior at the unconscious level. And
like a self-censoring, perhaps.
Right, self-censoring. And there is no external law or anything making us to behave like that. Even though the freedom of speech exists technically, but we don't allow ourselves to claim that right because of the cultural code, right? So, so that's why I find it interesting that Bitcoin is global and Bitcoin is creating a new culture, enabling a new set of universal human rights code, so to speak, and the freedom is universal. Freedom should be applied to everyone, right?
And let's not forget that Bitcoin runs on mining. That's the heartbeat of the whole thing. Do you want to be a part of it? without turning your garage into a sauna? I know I do. Sazmining.com has got you covered. Plug and play Bitcoin mining powered by renewables. It's like joining the Bitcoin backbone without fighting your landlord over the electric bill. Book a call with one of their expert team members and start mining today at Sazmining.com. From ridicule to respect, Bitcoin is now a subject at the same schools that once trashed it. That's not just education, that's adoption. The orange pill has officially gone Ivy League. And honestly, that's pretty weird, but as we all know in Bitcoin, weird is kind of normal. Anyway, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Oceans. This is Beyond Bitcoin. If you like what you see and you want to see more, hit that like button below, or you can hit the subscribe button for the Simply Bitcoin channel. We just hit 100,000 subscribers. Woohoo! You also hit that notification bell. Don't forget. Until next time.